Hey folks, okay, so what we're working on is a 115 horse Mercury 4-stroke 2007 model. This is a motor or the foot off of a motor that has come off a party hut that has been sitting in the water probably since it was new. So I'm going ahead and doing a full maintenance on it. I'm going to do a gear lube here, and in order to do the gear lube, there are a few things that you are going to need. Because this hasn't been serviced in a long time, and there were some splits on these little washers. There's 3 drain plugs that go to this particular lower unit. There are some lower units that only have 2. Matter of fact, a lot of them only have 2. But this one has 3. And so it has the one at the bottom that you drain and fill by. It has an oil level, and then it's got a vent, which is nice because that way we can go ahead and put in the oil here, and I'll put a screw in, and when it comes out this vent tube, then I'll put the screw in there. We're going to lose a little bit. And then what that'll allow me to do is then I can crack this oil level and let it run out until it's perfectly level. It'll be at the fill level that it's supposed to be. The oil level is a little bit lower than the vent, just a little bit. So that's what we're going to do. So first thing I did is I've got 3 washers. I got 3 screws here. Some of you will only have 2. And this is what I have ordered, or actually what I was waiting on. So I've already had the old 90 weight gear oil draining out of this thing for over 24 hours now. And so these finally came in, these Quicksilver. I ordered it along with a water pump impeller, everything off of marineengine.com. They really fast shipping. Everything seems to be correct. I've had good results from ordering from those guys. So marineengine.com. And this happens to have 4 in it, and I only need 3, so I'll have a spare. So just to get started, we'll go ahead and these are not directional. So I'm just going to go ahead and put the washers on. And I dropped one. No, I didn't. I didn't get one out. So 1, 2, 3. Some of these are directional. The yellow ones here, it's a little bit, you can almost see a little bit of a washer ring right there, or a little bit of metal. And then all gasket seal on that side. And I believe that the screw goes against the one where you can kind of see through the silicone, and the other part's what seals to the crankcase. So we've got 3 new seals. I'll put them on. And I'll keep this other one for a spare. So in order to do this, really, I mean, it's pretty simple maintenance. You're going to need a quart of high quality gear lube, 90 weight. In my case, you need to read the instruction manual on your particular lower unit. There's some like 80W90s, and there's a few different combinations, but I would recommend, if it was me, using the brand engine that I'm putting the gear lube in. I've got a Suzuki also, and I only put Suzuki gear oil in it. But Mercury 9 weight gear oil, you're gonna need that. You're gonna need a slotted screwdriver in order to take the drain plugs out, which again, I've already done that. And then you're gonna need a pump, and I've used this pump over and over, so I keep it, to keep it clean, I keep it inside this 1 gallon Ziploc bag. So now that I've got my 3 screws ready to go, now I'm just ready to take and open up my 90 weight gear lube. I can get this pump now out of my bag. I zipped it right back up. So now I'm just going to flush the pump And you can pick these pumps up just about anywhere. Your local marine place is going to have it, definitely. And this one I've been using a while. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, because that snaps right off, I'm just going to go ahead and thread it into, you want to go in from the bottom. And you're just going to turn to the right, turn clockwise. And I'm just going to get it in there snugged up. It doesn't have to be tight by no means, because all we're doing is we're putting in the oil until it comes out the overflow. So now if you only have one, you're just going to remove the one screw up top, and you're going to slowly pump, because you don't want to, the reason you're going from the bottom is to make sure your gear lube goes up and it pushes the air out. You don't have any air pockets. You don't want to drop it in from the top down. So I'm going to start pumping in my gear lube. And I'm just going to go nice and slow with it. I'm not going to take and do a big hard squirt, because I don't want any air bubbles in it. I just want to keep putting in the gear lube to this lower unit. Nice and smooth. So the good thing when you're cracking the plugs on these, you need to loosen up the bottom one first, and just make sure there's no water in it, and you'll know it. The water is going to settle to the bottom in the gear case if there's water in it. If you have just run the engine, it's possible that the gear oil is going to be milky, but if the engine's been sitting a while, that's going to separate and that water is going to go to the bottom. If you're thinking about buying a boat, I would definitely go ahead, take a flathead screwdriver with you, and you don't have to take that all the way out. You just crack it and notice whether or not it's oil coming out of it, or if it's water first, then oil. Because I've had one that had a cracked bearing carrier, and it was getting water into the gear case. So water came out first. This one did not. It is, now the oil was dirty. It's in the bottom of this pan that I've got here now. Definitely needed cleaned. If it has been changed, it's only been probably changed once. This motor, even though it's a 2007, supposedly only has a little over 100 hours on it. No, I haven't put it on I have just purchased this boat, so I haven't put it on a computer to see. But what I'm telling you guys to do, just to make sure that you're getting a healthy engine, I did not do with this one, so I got lucky with the foot here. Now, what I'm doing is I've got a workmate bench that I've got the foot of this motor on. I've done this on several other lower units, and it works great. Now, it doesn't open up far enough for you to put the foot in the vise without removing the propeller. The propeller has to come off. But it's a good idea if you're going to service, and especially if you're doing a water pump and everything like I'm doing, and dropping the whole lower unit, and you need to work on it. This holds it nice and level, so you know you're getting it perfect with the oil fill. If it's still attached to your boat, just trim the boat so it's perfectly level, not up in the air one way or the other. But it's a good idea to take that prop off just to make sure there's no fishing line or anything around it, because this is where the seals are. And if fishing line gets in here and it wraps around, it'll cut those seals. And that's going to cause water infiltration into this housing where the gears are located. But this gear lube, this 90 weight, is what's lubricating the bearings, the reverse gear, the drive gear, the forward gear, and the clutch dog. And that's how this thing goes into forward and reverse. So I'm still slowly pumping. We're still working on it. And again, I'm going nice and slow, not to blow a bunch up and run it. I want it to come up nice and level in that gear case till it hits those vent holes. And again, where I'm looking is it's going to come out this one first. And every gear case is a little bit different. You need to check. Now here we got, there's the first little bit of oil. So now what I'm going to do and have a, I'm going to go ahead at this point and I'm going to put get my hands up in here. That's a little bit tight. I'm going to put that screw in. Now this is where once you do that, you put this screw in, snug it up. If you only have 2 screws, and then when you have the other screw ready, back it off and use your finger to plug the hole to keep from losing any gear oil. So, and I would back this out and go ahead and do that at this point. I have a vent hole here, so what I could do is, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and fill a little bit extra up and let that continue to the vent. Now, if you plug that off, don't continue the pump and add here because this gear case is sealed and you're going to pressurize it enough to where when you pop this off, it's going to blow oil out of it. But if you put that screw in there first, it's going to cap it off so it's not vented. Obviously mine's vented. I got another one right here. And when I take this out, it's not going to just gush and run out. Like it, you'll lose some, but you will be fine just to go ahead and just remove it and go. So again, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and add some more. I put the 1 plug in. Whoop, and there it comes. It come out my vent hole. Now that it's out my vent hole, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to insert. And again, my hands are big. You got somebody with little hands, it works a whole lot better. This one, I'm going to go ahead and snug up. And get it nice and snug. This one, I'm just going to barely snug. So I got this one nice and tight. It's not coming back out. I'm going to wipe this oil off, this gear lube. And so what I have is I got my gaskets, my new gaskets on both. And make sure, I used a little pick. I had to pick out those the old yellow gaskets that were on there. But I've got my screws ready to go with the new gaskets on them. And so now what I'm going to do is this one's the one that's going to go in to the bottom down here. And the 3 screws that I have are the same. Again, you need to check with yours if you're doing this, changing the gear lube in it. Just keep them separated or whatever. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen this up. And again, mine is old and doesn't want to spin very well. But I'm trying to hold the, there we go. So now what I've got is I'm holding the plastic tube and I'm doing nothing but spinning loose the end of the pump. And now I lost a little bit right there. Whoop. Making a mess. I'm going to take this screw and I'm going to do a quick flip. And I'm not losing much because those other screws are in. If you don't put those other screws in, while you're doing this, trying to get this screw started, you're going to lose a bunch of gear lube, and then you're going to be low in the gear case. So now, I'll wipe my hands off here. Go ahead, I got that screw started. I'm just going to drain my, I've got good gear lube and I don't want to waste it.